Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of Roommates. So, let's jump right back in. I almost didn't want to touch the body, the effects were so real. If you need to search for clues here, ma'am, feel free. Thank you, butler. Oh, Jesus. Well, I guess that's as much of a push as I'm gonna get. I took a look at the watch on his wrist. It's definitely seen better times. The strap is nearly broken off, and the face is definitely broken. A little blood has gotten onto it, and the strap on the knob, and the knob on the side. The watch hands have stopped moving, stuck pointing at 7 o'clock. I decide to go through the pockets of his jacket as well. After a few moments of rifling around, my hand grasps something. It appears to be a stop payment order on a check. On the reason line, it just says cut off. There doesn't appear to be anything else of note on his body. Well, butler, I think it's time you told me what you know. Exactly what happened here. Very well. Here is the sordid tale. I was here when the master returned from work at 6 in the evening. He was certainly planning on throwing a costume party tonight. All of the invitations to you were sent off ages ago. At 6:55, the master noticed that we were dreadfully short of port for the evening. He immediately sent me to acquire more for the night. Obviously, I don't really know what happened while I was gone. I arrived back from the shops at 7:30. I entered to find the hideous scene you see before you. I called the police, of course, but then you all began arriving and, well, you know where we got from there. I assume you hear, whoops, not I assume. Did you hear any strange noises when you were leaving? Any sign of struggle? If we assume his watch broke at the time of assault, it wasn't long after you left. No, but I don't recall hearing anything unusual as I left. It was actually very quiet. And there was nobody here when you got back? No, I checked all the rooms and nobody was about. Are there any other entrances or exits? There is a back entrance and it was still locked when I checked it. All right, well, thank you, butler. Of course, ma'am. I think that's all I'm going to get out of this place for now. Well, that was certainly a good place to start. Question is, where's next? Let's, investigate the study, I guess. Time to visit the study. I think Isabella came in here. One of the classrooms has been converted for the evening. Looks like there are people relaxing all over. Someone even put a few pipes on a coffee table between some of the chairs. They probably haven't been used, since I'm pretty sure this is a no-smoking building. Isabella is sitting on one of the chairs, idly leafing through a book. I don't know if she's reading it or not, actually. Hey, Isabella! Oh, there you are, hon. Finally came to see what I was up to. I've been looking forward to seeing you. So, have you discovered any clues? I may know some things you don't. The real question is, how are you going to get me to tell them to you? Oh, I have my ways of making you talk, Isabella. It's actually pretty fun playing the investigator. I always loved the femme fatale types in the old crime novellas I read. Or I'd read, whatever. Isabella, for her part, leans far back in her chair, crossing her legs and steepling her fingers as she looks me over. Oh, do tell. I'm all ears. Well, I guess I could, interrogate you? Oh, does the little girl want to use a little force to come get what she wants? I do like a woman who knows what she wants. Isabella's teasing me again, but it does work well for a character like hers. I can't buckle now. That's right, Isabella, I do know what I want. I walk over to her chair, putting my hands on the armrests and leaning my face in close to hers. And what I want is for you to tell me what you know, everything you know. Isabella makes a sort of languid smile as she looks into my eyes. Well, since you asked so nice. So, what's your story here, Isabella? Well, you know Mr. Body was my boss. We work together for God's sake. I've been his secretary for 3 years now. Did you have any problems with your boss? Of course not. We got along famously. Everyone knows he was always hanging off my every word. And was there anything else going on between you two? I'm sorry. What? What do you mean? Well, come on, Isabella. It's the oldest story in the book, right? Beautiful secretary and the older, lecherous boss. So you do think I'm beautiful, eh? Well, that's progress. I try not to blush. She's trying to throw me off the scent, which is proof that something is going on. I decide to try a different tactic. Of course I do, Isabella. You're damn pretty. How long did it take for you to have him wrapped around your little finger? Not long at all. Wait. Fine. Yeah, we messed around a bit. It was nothing serious, just a little harmless fun. Ha! I knew it. And did his wife know about this harmless fun? Well, if it's harmless, she wouldn't really need to know about it, would she? I figured. So, where were you around 7 o'clock? Don't remind me. That was before we got here, right? You asked why Chad didn't come. Well, just ask the patrons at my cafe. They'll tell you why he didn't come. We had a huge fight when he told me that he had to go bail someone out of jail. He left at 7 and I went home to prepare to come here with you. How far away is the cafe from here? I don't know, about 15 minutes. Okay, one more question. Take a look at this for me. I hand the slip of paper to Isabella, watching her reaction carefully. She unfurls the paper, looking it over. For a fraction of a second, her face tightens in anger. Then she's all smiles again. Clearly, he didn't want someone to get paid. That looks like his personal account, so I don't know what it could have been for. Did you know his account numbers as well as his secretary? As his secretary, I ran a few checks for him now and then. I have a good head for numbers, what can I say? Well, thank you for your time, Isabella. No problem, detective. Hope you figure out who did this and bring them to justice. Isabella winks at me and goes back to idly leafing through her book on her comfy chair. Well, there was clearly an affair happening between her and Body, but that's not necessarily evidence that she did it. I'll have to investigate further. As I return to the main hall, I pass by a couple of the other guests in this murder mystery. I hear a quick snippet of their conversation. I hear Body's daughter married some worthless mooch who's bled her wallet dry. Once a mooch gets started, it's usually pretty hard to let go. Well, anyway, that's another room down. Only question now is where to next. Let's go to the kitchen. I think it's time to visit the kitchen. Maybe I can catch up with Rakesh. I wander down the hall into what looks like a little break room. There's a refrigerator and a microwave in here. There's even one of those little electric grills plugged in. I see Rakesh applying peanut butter to some bread slices at the counter next to the refrigerator. Digging around inside the fridge, I see a girl I don't know. Let me know when you find the jelly, Roxanne. Yes, I'm looking. I don't know if they have any. How did you talk me into this anyway? Because I make an excellent sandwich. Hey, Rakesh. Ah, and welcome. I will get more bread. What is the kitchen without snacks, Who's your new friend? This is Roxanne. Apparently, she was staying here in the building to sort out some of her affairs. Oh, and what affairs would those be, Miss Roxanne? That unfortunate murder case in the Great Hall is my father. He called me here under some pretense of having something to tell me. It was apparently going to be something about his new lover. Honestly, if he weren't paying my way through college, I wouldn't have listened to anything that old Bag had to say. He was quite well-to-do. And how did you fit into his plans, if you don't mind me asking, miss? Hopefully, I didn't fit into them at all. He was a terrible person, a womanizer, a philanderer. You still took his money and attended school, however. You have seen the interest rates on... Or have you seen the interest rates on student loans? Sure, I did what I had to, but I hated that man. I hated him to his bones, I won't deny it. I've got nothing to hide. Roxanne slams a jar of jelly on the counter next to Rakesh and storms out of the room. Welp, if that didn't make her suspicious. Rakesh finishes making the sandwich and hands me one. Well, Rakesh, what's your story? Did you know the man in there? Yes. Well, as to my story, I'm not sure if you ever saw me around the office. I was Mr. Body's bodyguard. He did not feel it was necessary when he was at his own office. Still, I saw you a time or two. He was your boss as well, eh? Did you two get along all right? Oh yes, he was a very strict boss. You didn't like him? Oh, that's not true at all. Well, maybe a little true. I was not fond of him, but one does not need to be fond of one's employer to remain employed, is that correct? I suppose that's true, but surely you could have found somewhere else to work. Mr. Body was very persuasive. You don't sound like a loyal employee. Perish the thought. At any rate, I did not have anything to do with the terrible crime out there tonight, that is for certain. So, where were you around 7 o'clock tonight? What time was that? An hour before we got here? I was just finishing up with an art class. I was doing a bit of life modeling. I didn't know you did that. Well, art is a bit of a side passion of mine. We both chuckle at that. Mr. Body said that he wouldn't need me tonight, so I took the opportunity. Just one last thing, Rakesh. Can you take a look at this for me? I hand him the slip of paper. Watching his reaction, he uncurls the paper, looking it over. He looks worried for a moment. It's one of those personal accounts, not the one that he pays me out of, I think. I hope it's not yours, is it? No, not mine. Probably someone else close to him, then. It's definitely a personal account. Okay, well, thank you, Rakesh. Make sure to find me if you think of anything else. Most definitely. Thank you, Anne. I think there was definitely more to Rakesh's relationship with Mr. Body than he's saying, but I'll have to figure it out as I go on. As I return to the main hall, I pass by a couple of the other guests in this murder mystery. I hear a quick snippet of the conversation. Oh yeah, I totally heard his bodyguard wanted out of his job, but couldn't get out from under Body's thumb. There's definitely some dirt involved here. Well, anyway, that's another room down. Only question is now where to go next. The sitting room, of course, our last room. Looks just like our common room, but with a nicer TV. It even looks like someone brought in a small bar. Upon closer inspection, it looks like it's got all kinds of juices but no alcohol. Which makes sense. This is school property after all. I make myself a quick glass of juice and scan the people here. Max is sitting on one of the recliners next to the TV, watching some kind of sports highlight coverage. A few other people are sitting in various other parts of the room, but all seem to be nattering about something. Come to think of it, I haven't really seen all those other people much. Most of them must have come in here to discuss things. Looks like a bunch of them have juice glasses. Hello, Max. Hiding out here, huh? Well, maybe a little. I have my reasons. Excuse me. Well, speaking of reasons, maybe we should talk about your story here. I'm so all over this case, Max, and I'm gonna solve it, so out with it. Alright. It's not like I have anything to hide, cutie. Don't you cutie me. You're not going to distract me. Yeah. Look, Mr. Body has 2 daughters. His older daughter, Hillary, married me. Shotgun wedding? What? No! Oh, please. Like you're the marrying type, Max. Hey, I could be. What if I found the right girl, or 3? Exactly. Anyway, according to my card, I married her, so shut up. Stay in character, Max. You were doing really well. You're really enjoying yourself, aren't you? You get into the sleuth stuff, don't you? Oh yeah, I used to love all those pulp detective novels. Back to you. Why'd you do it? Was it the money? Hey, the money was just a nice perk. I don't think that makes me a bad person. I take it Mr. Body was against it. He wasn't exactly thrilled, but he didn't object. His daughter's a grown woman. She can make her own decisions. So you didn't get along with Mr. Body? Maybe not at first, but he gave me a job at at his company, and we've been fine ever since. I'm not his favorite person or anything, but we're not sniping at each other either. So, where were you at 7 o'clock? Hillary asked me to make nice, so I don't leave the office until then every night. You can check with anyone in the office, they'll tell you. So, how are Hillary's finances these days? She's doing fine. Max looks away from me for a moment, watching the television screen. Okay, one last thing, Max. Can you take a look at this for me? I hand him the slip of paper. He looks it over for a moment, curiously. It's a stop payment for one of his personal accounts. He breaks these out when he's mad sometimes, or when he wants to cut ties with someone. He'll just deny their final paycheck or payment or whatever. He's lucky he was never sued over it, honestly. Do you know who the payment might have been to? Not offhand, no. He didn't keep me in that business. Or into his business, sorry. All right, I suppose that's enough for now. Thank you for your cooperation, Max. No problem, Sleuth. Good luck on this case. It's a tricky one. He winks at me as I leave the room. As I return to the main hall, I pass by a couple of the other guests in this murder mystery. I hear a quick snippet of the conversation. Oh yeah, I always see the boss's son-in-law's Ferrari there at 7 o'clock. I don't dare touch it. He's got the alarm set so sensitive, but it's a nice car. Well, anyway, that's another room down. Only question now is, where to go next? I mean, I guess we should gather the suspects and make our accusation now because we've been through every room. So let's do it. Butler, gather the people. I think it's time we close this case. Very well, madame. The butler runs around, gathering up the other suspects in this little mystery. Tonight, someone in this room committed a heinous crime. Someone who thinks they've gotten away with it. Unfortunately for that person, I happen to show up. I've yet to meet a mystery I couldn't solve and a perp I couldn't finger. Isabella snickers behind her hand. I try not to blush. She's really quite terrible. And that's why I've brought you all here before the scene of the crime, because it's now quite obvious who the killer is. Who? Easy, Rakesh? We're going to lie to protect Max, because we do know that he did it. Obviously. I take a look at Max as the people in the room wait for me. He gives me a smile and a wink. Take a deep breath. It's not difficult to see an elaborate party, a bunch of invitations with pre-written messages. A convenient excuse that would seem to put them out of the house at the time of the murder. The murder is clearly the biggest lie, or the murder... Wait, what? The murder is clearly the biggest liar here at this party for liars. The one pulling the wool over our eyes from the very start. The butler! After all, can anyone corroborate where you were when you say you were out for supplies? You probably did leave, only you did it after killing Mr. Body. What? Well, I never. I didn't do anything. Tell it to the cops, chump. The other players immediately swarm the butler, asking questions and accusing him. Max makes his way out of the crowd and stands next to me. You think it's me, don't you? Well, but you know I didn't, right? I'm starting to get that impression. Either way, it's nice to see that you've got my back when the chips are down. I'm surprised I did it. I was looking forward to solving the case and being right. Oh, I'll definitely remember this. Finally, the butler frees himself from the crowd, dusting himself off. He looks at me. I'm sorry, Anne, but you are incorrect. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I want to thank you all for coming out to the Alpha Theta Rho fraternity's murder mystery evening. If you would like, please feel free to join us for a party proper at our house. Everyone claps loudly for the butler, who takes a bow. People start heading out the door. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already subscribed, by subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.